Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby, and this video is going to give you a double helping of light tank gameplay. As I play World of Tanks more and more, I firstly enjoyed medium tanks after the heavies, and now I'm finding that I'm enjoying my light tanks a lot more. They're sort of my favorite tanks to drive. The challenge is very real when it comes to light tanks. They are so rewarding if you can play them well, and they're completely punishing if you play them badly. And so I found that by playing light tanks and that threat that you get from them, I feel like it can really boost your gameplay and also have some fun. So we've managed to put a shot into that Type 61 early. Bit of a cheeky one, really. It was kind of risky. If he had shot me clutch, then that would have been basically 2/3 of my health gone. So that probably wasn't very sensible. Looking at this matchup, I'm in a Tier 6 Chinese premium light tank, the Type 64. I have done a full review on this tank, so you can go check that out if you're interested in knowing more about this beautiful vehicle. It's kind of like a T-49/Hellcat. And you see me loading now some premium rounds to be able to get these shots in on the IS-3. We're able to put 458 damage through the side of his tank. We could have probably managed to do that with regular rounds there. The difference between the penetration is 128 and 177, so it's very significant. So as I was saying, this is a Tier 9 game for our Tier 6 light tank, and there are quite a few dangerous players in their top tier tanks. This number 2 platoon is rather deadly. My guess at the start of the game was that the E75 and the ST1 would push round the east. The east fight here on Cliff is very linear, and if they're able to keep a fight linear in an E75 and an ST1, it's definitely beneficial to the tank. So right now, what I was thinking is that with that Type 61 up there and the AMX-12T, it was just complete luck if I wasn't going to get killed. So I've pulled back. I don't feel like there's a position up there that's very safe. And with the T-44 below me, he can easily shoot up at me, the artillery can splash me, Type 61 and the 12T were proxy spotting me. I just didn't feel that it was very safe up there. I don't have the same health as a medium tank such as the Centurion 7-1 and the Pershing, so I let him go. I know this Type 61's probably going to shoot me in the side, and now I know that this T-44 around the corner is on low health. I saw him, so we come round, plant one into him, successfully take him out, and now we've claimed the center. We probably wouldn't have penetrated that shot if we hadn't used the premium round in the Type 64. And interestingly, we can see that the enemy Platoon 2 have split up their forces. The E75 has gone northeast and the ST1 is below me. And now check this out. This is very interesting gameplay. I'm just going to pause it. Well, I'll let you watch it and then I'll pause it afterwards and talk to it. We're shooting this T-25-2 and we're making sure that we keep the bush between him and me. He can't see us. Now he spotted us just then. We've done 431 to him. 5, 8, 6, 7, 3. And there's an entire Tier 7 tank destroyer taken out without receiving a hit. Now just to pause that, what you saw me doing for the most part there, and I'll put it in a free camera mode to explain it. So, our T-25-2 was down there. I was situated beyond 10 meters behind this bush. What that means is that in World of Tanks, if you didn't know this already, and apologies if I'm going over something mundane for you guys, if you are 10 meters behind a bush and you fire, then you still retain that bush's blocking effect. Imagine that if, for all intents and purposes, that it is a slightly less thick rock, if you want to think of it like that. What that means is they can still see through it if they have very, very, very good view range, I believe. However, If you're 10 meters, or it might even be 15 meters, you're going to have to look that up. Behind the bush, and you fire, you do not get revealed. What that meant is that we were able to shoot that T-25-2, and it took him quite a while before he was even able to spot us. Little bits of gameplay like that are what you need to develop in your light tanks if you want to have big games in them. And here's the Type 61. It's one of the most valuable players on the enemy team. That Type 61 is a very dangerous tank. And we can see that one of the other major threats on the enemy team, the E-75, has come round as well. I have no chance of penetrating the E-75 unless I fire premium rounds. As you can see here, even my premium round is bouncing. The second one goes in, and these are very valuable shots. We put a couple in there, helping secure the kill on the E-75. Now, one of the reasons why I was so aggressive on that T-44 earlier is that this part of the map is simply beautiful. Put one into the Tiger, he misses. I can come round, and I know I can put two into him. Oh, I just missed it on the rock there. That was a shame. But I know that I can fire twice every time the Tiger fires. So there's a 12T here. We're going to wait for him. Way! That one was a bit lucky. And the artillery shut down that ST-1 while he was on his way into the base. And for all intents and purposes, we might have been getting the spotting damage on that ST-1. Now an absolute mountain goat of a tank here. The Type 64 is above a French Tier 8 heavy, the AMX 5100, and this is just a dream. When you're in a light tank and you get these kind of situations, seriously, this is just amazing. He's very much focused on shooting up at the T-34. I tunnel visioned a little bit there and got shot once by the Tiger, but I have enough health to take it. I don't want to get shot again, so I'm waiting till he's focused. I come round and plant the shot into the Tiger, securing the kill. And that kill on the 5100 there, that was just... When you have those opportunities to let rip on lightly armored tanks in your light tanks, it's absolutely magical that you got a Tier 6 shooting a Tier 8 there, because these light tanks earn so many credits and so much experience for all of their damage. And I'm bouncing off a GW Tiger P. Not anymore though. Oi, our artillery gets the kill. I do something a bit silly here. I'm very worried about the ISU-152. And I'm completely ignorant to the fact that there is an AFK Tiger there on 6 health that I could have killed. It's a bit of tunnel vision there. But when there's something with a 152mm BL-10, you kind of... It kind of makes priorities a little bit different. So I could be more aggressive here, to be honest. I should have really closed the distance and been after this the ISU-152 a lot sooner. I'm not really going to be very effective at long ranges. And if I had gone close to him, I would have been able to probably pick up a little bit of that damage at the end. But it was still quite a successful round for the Type 64. This was fairly indicative gameplay of the Type 64. You really need to be careful with it, but if you want to have big games, you also need to be opportunistic. You really need to find those opportunities where enemies might be doing something where either they're distracted or they're already engaged with opponents, and that allows you to make use of the tank's fantastic DPM, which allowed us to pick up 4 kills, and let's take a quick look to see how much damage. So we didn't get any special medals. This would have been a mastery badge. This replay was from April a few weeks ago, on I think one of the last days of 8.11. We managed to finish second on damage in a Tier 9 game, only 160 behind an M103, and that netted us 1,637 base experience. Now we did fire quite a few premium rounds there. We fired 33,000 credits worth of ammunition. But as the Type 64 is a premium scout tank, we made 82,000 credits, so nearly 50,000 credits profit. With the Type 64, if you penetrate your premium rounds, you make profit. There's a definite skill in knowing when it's time to fire your standard rounds and your premium rounds in your light tanks. With careful consideration, you can either break even or make substantial profits, even in non-premium vehicles, and still have very effective roles for your team and help to change the outcome of the battle. So just to reiterate a few things that we saw there. In my light tanks, I like to do the initial scout rush, especially in one of the best pure scouts in the game, the Type 64. Get those initial spots, but pull back as soon as you don't feel confident that you're going to be able to survive in the position. I also felt that I wasn't really adding anything to the team by being there. I reanalyzed the situation, saw that there was a T-44 who was out of position and low on health, secured an important part of the map, and then was able to do thousands and thousands of damage from there. Unfortunately, I guess I was a little bit hesitant towards the end of the game, which meant that we didn't have a monster game, but this was still a nice little game and very indicative of the Type 64 and the kind of gameplay you can develop in it. Anyway, this is a double trouble video, so I'm going to be showing you some gameplay in the T-71. So here we are in the Tier 7 American light tank. We're playing on an encounter version of Erlenberg, and this matchup is very interesting indeed. You can see there are 3 Tier 7 light tanks on the enemy team, and the rest are a very, very juicy amount of Tier 8 heavies, and then 1 Tier 9 tank either side. So as we can see here, the T-71, it's not sluggish. It's highly mobile, considering that it gets a 6-shell autoloader with 150 alpha damage and 175 millimeters of penetration with its cheap APCR rounds. It's definitely a contender for one of the most dangerous light tanks in the game, along with, say, the WZ-132 and the AMX 1390. So we've made our way into the bush here. There's a WZ-132 fighting an Alpha Panther. Wait for our opportunity. There's another Alpha Panther to the left I've got to be afraid of, so I'm going to move as soon as I fire because I don't want to get shot by all the people that could be down there. So I auto-aim and I miss 2 shots. I stop the auto-aim, and then instantly I start hitting again. Oh, that one was a bit of a poor shot at the end there. And we're reloading. Thankfully, our heavy fire support has arrived, and the 5120 is going very aggressive. So we're just finishing off our reload here. 5120 has made that Alpha Panther very low indeed. We're able to just sneak in the kill. We start reloading again instantly because I don't feel there are going to be any engagements. That's something I'd like to highlight in the T-71, is that its reload is it's fairly quick, to be honest with you. And I do strongly recommend that you reload as much as you can so you're prepared to be able to do your max clip damage, which is 900 at any time, really. It can be tricky. Sometimes you might only have 2 rounds left, and there might be some opportunities to fire, but like right now, I fired 2, and I don't know whether this IS-3 is going to come back out or not. I finally give up, thinking, wow, there's no point. I'm not going to get any effective damage there. No point. Let's move on. Let's see what we can do on the other flank to help out our team. This 5120 and this T-25-2 are engaging a Tiger II and an IS-3 on this flank. So I'm reloading. I'm trying to communicate with my team to tell them to follow me. This Tiger II seems to be playing quite aggressively on my left. So right now it's all about coordination and timing your attack in your light tanks. You don't want to take huge amounts of damage as you don't have much. So he's aiming far back. I believe we managed to duke around him. We miss a shot and bounce a shot. The Tiger II gets a nice ram kill in there. Now we aim at the back of the IS-3, finish him off, start to reload again. So that was nice. What you saw there is that the Tiger II thought, the light tank's going to go on my right, so I'm going to continue to aim my turret round. And then you have the track traverse in your T-71. It's a little toy racer of a tank. To be able to do those very swift maneuvers to outposition your enemies. And if the Tiger II wanted to turn his turret round to follow me, he would be exposing his turret to all of my friends, which will allow them to penetrate him at will. Now that situation, it wasn't close, it wasn't really stressful. But the idea of forcing tanks to turn their turret to allow your team to penetrate them is very useful indeed when the game is a lot more tight than this. This is a dream for the T-71. just unloading on the lava. And we can see here that you actually have to aim for quite a lot longer in your reload. I believe on this tank that I am using vertical stabilizers and optics and vents. I don't think that I'm using the gun laying drive. There is an argument to take the gun laying drive on the T-71, but I definitely prefer using optics or binoculars. So right now, there's sort of a divide in the middle of the map. Well, there's a physical divide. There's a river going down the middle of Erlenberg. But it seems like our team have gravitated into that kind of a fight. I want to take a chance here. I see this T-28 prototype is on low health and he's by himself. I begin to unload and my team hit him just before. I would have probably taken a shot there from him. Now we're going to try and hit this T-34. Oh, that shot just went a little too high. Now we're looking for the 5100. We don't have him. So we're going to shoot the Jagdpanther. We bounce off his upper plate, but now we have the side of his armor. We're able to do a cheeky 252 damage there to him with our last 2 shells. And those are very low rolls. On average, this gun does 150, so that last roll of 118 was very, very, very low indeed. However, we're reloading. We're going to make our way into this bush. And I definitely don't have 6th Sense on this tank because I moved my T-71 crew into my Chaffee. So we take an opportunistic clutch shot at the T-34. Oh, and a bounce off his turret. But we have him. Seeing that he's on fire, I don't really want to waste another shell. I'll let him burn. And now we're going to load a heat clip. Now these shells are very expensive. I think they cost 4,800 a shot. So that's like 28,800 if I fire an entire clip. I feel so dirty. Sizzle too. Look at them sizzling. Look at that sizzle of shame off the back of his tank. Oh, that one set him on fire though. Oh, that's gotta hurt E75. For a total of 1,434 damage on the E75 there with that clip. Was that worth the 28,800 credits? Wow. Probably. Could I have done it with the APCR there? Most likely. The reason why I loaded the heat clip there is because I presumed that the E75 would turn round and come after me. I thought, well, he just saw me kill 3 of his friends behind him. You think he's going to turn round and come and deal with me? I was under that presumption. The standard rounds on this tank do 175 millimeters of penetration, and the heat rounds have only got 210. Now, a while ago, I believe this was either 250 or 300. They got significantly nerfed, and they're very expensive. And when that nerf happened to the T-71, it did become very, very less economical to play, and also you've got very much less penetration to be able to dominate some of those tier 10 heavies, and also touch and go stuff against an E75. 210 millimeters of penetration. You can't really pen the front of an E75 if he's angling well against you. Nevertheless, I felt like this replay was fairly indicative of what the T-71 is capable of. This is an absolute little beast of a tank, and I definitely fully recommend it. I have done a full quick tank review on the T-71, so if you're more interested in this vehicle, having seen this gameplay, then think about going and checking it out. What we were really able to do here is use our initial speed to get over onto the east of the map. We had the flexibility of the T-71 to fight it out along the hills. We showed the mobility of the T-71 in the fact that it was able to outflank that Tiger II, and well, we basically turned those tier 8 tanks into putty with our team. Then we used our speed and also our excellent camera rating to be able to outmaneuver the enemies, get some fantastic side shots into the lava. We went a bit ham when we went after that T-28 who was there. But luckily for us, one of our friends hit him just before he did, which saved us some health. If he hadn't been shot by our friends, we would have still been able to outmaneuver him. My idea was to flank round him and just nail him in the side over and over again, taking a maximum of 1 shot from him. Luckily for us, the enemies who were located below tunnel visioned a bit, which allowed us to get some soft shots into them and reload in between taking out the T-34 and then using that dirty heat clip on the E-75. Let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. So we were able to get 4,920 experience for our double there. That's 1,643 base, doing just under the top amount of damage on there by 13. However, when you're able to keep up with tier 9 heavy tanks in your tier 7 lights, you know you've had a fairly good game. Just to show you the extravagance that we used with regards to that last heat clip, we spent 41,000 credits on ammunition. However, we still made a profit of nearly 14,000 credits, so not too bad there. We did damage 10 enemies, of which we killed 4 of them, so that means there was a Confederate medal in it for us as well. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this double helping of light tank gameplay. As I said earlier, light tanks for me are becoming my favourite thing in World of Tanks. And that's not to say that I haven't always liked them, but just I really feel I love the difficulty and I love the extreme impact that you can have in the game. And you always feel like you're an underdog as well. There's like a bit of a glimmer up there that you don't feel as that you're important as, say, if you were in a tier 8 or tier 9 heavy tank. If you've enjoyed this video or it's been useful to you, please consider rating it down below. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know what you think about the Type 64 and the T71 in the comments below. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.